Hello, everyone, and welcome to Nurturing Duality. My name is Laura Coleman, and I full body channel Archangel Michael. Last night's call was incredibly profound, and one thing that I've realized through these calls is that the energy continues to build on the last one and just get stronger and stronger. Archangel Michael did speak about fear and stepping outside of the social constructs and the beliefs that you hold about those constructs. He did speak about, again, about that inner wisdom and really pushing past the fear and those beliefs. He gave us an exercise to work through, and at the end of the exercise, really navigating, do those beliefs still serve you? Archangel Michael and the other angelics also performed another healing, and I had quite a few people reach out afterwards and say how profound that really was. It was unexpected last month, and it was also unexpected this month. And so I really hope that as these continue to go on, that they bless us with those additional healing frequencies. At the very end, Archangel Michael gave a brief energetic update of what we can expect for the energies till the end of the year. And he said that those energies can be felt till about mid-February, till the end of February. We did add an enhancement to this call after Archangel Michael made his exit, and that was really our community connection and reflection time. And that gave participants a chance to raise their hand and share their experience and to ask very personal questions about how the transmissions are affecting them. And I was able to step in and consciously channel and give them guidance and bridge the gap on some of the topics that came through last night. While that portion is not actually on the recording, that is one of the benefits of being live during these transmissions. And so if that is something that you want to participate in, the link for my website is in the description, and you can find the next month's call in the Book Now tab. Just be out on the lookout for that. If you also want to work with me one-on-one, that is where you can find that information as well. I do want to give a special thank you to my dear friend Stephen for, again, so eloquently navigating the conversation and really holding the space of the container. If you feel called to work with him or want to connect, his links are also in the description. Lastly, I just want to share that Archangel Michael, his guidance doesn't end here, that the support and the frequency continues to unfold days after these calls. So make sure to hit the subscribe to get notifications on new videos and really stay connected. I'd also love for you to share in the comments your experience and how transformative this was for you, what moved you, or how the healing really affected you. So without further ado, here is Archangel Michael's message from last night.
All right, thank you, Laura. Good evening, everybody. So, as Laura raises her vibration and brings Archangel Michael through, I'm going to take a second to introduce myself and go over a couple touch points of the call. So, hi, my name is Stephen. I am a pleasure worker, I'm an erotic body worker, and I am a Reiki master teacher. Most of the work that I do with clients is here in Denver, where I'm located, but I also teach Reiki online in the virtual setting. I'm going to put my links to my website and my Instagram in the chat, as well as Laura's links to her website. So you've already been on her website, but I'm also going to add a link to the Facebook group. She has a Facebook group going for all the beautiful work that she's doing with Nurturing Duality. And it is a great place to keep track of like the calls and the replays. And the other cool thing that she does in there is a free live group channel once a month. So Laura goes in there live once a month and channels the angelic realm. And this is the opportunity for you to get free channeled guidance on personal questions.
Hi, Archangel Michael, I'm here. And I want to say thank you to every soul on this call who is taking a step outside of their security or boundaries to be in this space and witness something unique and different. There are many of you who have been introduced to these types of calls or this energy, but there are also a handful of you who have no idea what to expect. But the fact that you are still here and curious is a great honor. To those of you who may be a bit skeptical, we also honor your presence as well. And we do understand that there are many of you who have doubts about, does this align with your religion or your beliefs? And we honor your presence here as well. This space and this container, as Laura mentioned, is encoded with a vibrational frequency that is bringing through divine love from Source, from God, from the universe. It is all one and one in the same. And that is what we need to move to and towards as a collective. The separation that so many constructs from our society is bringing individuals to separate from the collective is leaving us alone and in the presence of our ego and our mind. And most of us do not and are not conscious of the negative self-talks and the damaging subconscious patternings that replay. And so communal spaces like this allow you to think outside the box and push your beliefs and unite with others that you may not otherwise have communicated with or even thought to acknowledge. But as we move to a different paradigm with the energies and shift the collective into more balance, we need to step out of the constructs of what society deems as normal. Because those constructs are based out of fear. And fear is what's keeping you small. Fear is not allowing your soul to evolve and expand. And the disease that most of the humans in the most of the dis-ease that humans are experiencing is not only based on being so far away from your soul's purpose, but blindly following what society says is healthy, natural, or normal. But what society does not realize is each individual out of the billions that are in this existence needs to and should step into their own unique abilities and follow what is in your heart and what is driving you to be that unique individual, because the world needs you to step up. We feel we may have lost some of you in this translation, but know that not every message is meant to land in this moment in time. And if you feel called to watch the replay of this video, know that it is your team, your angels, your guides calling you back to this moment, because something will land differently and resonate at another time. And so please follow that nudge, because as your soul evolves, there is guidance and lessons. Every single one of you has a team of angels that want to help and assist you. But based on your experiences as a child or as an adult, how society has told you to think, act, or behave, you do not listen to your team, your inner wisdom, and you suppress the intuition that should be guiding you. And that wisdom that you have within is your soul. And if you are not in alignment with the messages that your soul is screaming at you, then you will feel like an empty shell of who you are. And many of you, not just the ones on this call, but the ones listening to the replay, many of you are walking around and you do not know your purpose. You do not feel like you have purpose. But we can assure you that every single soul in existence has a great purpose. And the majority are not even close to the potential of what they can create if they just allow their mind to release all things that they feel they should be doing and lean into the inner knowing of what they truly want and desire. Laura herself has not fully stepped in to all of her gifts and abilities for fear of what others will think of her. But the messages that are supposed to come through her are going to help millions of people in some way, shape, or form. And the pressure of that knowledge has built resistance to putting herself out there. And we give this example because there are many of you who have thoughts and ideas, very creative thoughts and ideas that will never birth into anything because you are the only one who has that thought. That was gifted to you by God to share with humanity. But you are not sharing it out of fear. Fear of resources, fear of support, fear of judgment. And the abundance that wants to come through to your life in any of the forms that you pray for, that you are trying to manifest, are not coming because you are not living up to your potential. You are not stepping outside of fear, pushing through resistance to truly get your desires. You are not curious about the whys. Why are you not doing it? What is it that's really holding you back? And when you strip everything down to its most basic level, it is usually fear. But it is not fear of failure. It is the fear of the unknown, fear of the success that will come through when you act on the wisdom of your soul. See, the ego and your pain body, they operate in the constructs of what it already knows is fear. But the fear of the unknown, that is far scarier. The fear of success is far scarier because it has never experienced the success. It's experienced the fear and the pain and the guilt and the shame, and it knows how to operate in those lower vibrational frequencies. But it does not know how to operate in this other version of you who pushes past the resistance and what society deems you should be doing with your life, how you should be operating in relationships. There are a lot of souls out there who are yearning for more. And they wonder why they are not experiencing the abundance that they keep praying for. Why it seems like your prayers are falling on deaf ears. And we can assure you that if you are praying out of a place of desperation, those prayers are falling on deaf ears because you are not in alignment with the faith and the trust that when you pray for your desires, when you are manifesting what it is that you want, that you have the faith and the trust that it will come to you. But please know that when you are calling something into your existence, whether it is love, whether it is abundance financially, whether it is friends or a new job, when you are calling these things in, you need to remove whatever it is that is keeping you stuck in your current reality. If you are not removing said thing, you will never be able to fully receive what it is you are calling in. And so the universe provides you with situations to learn and grow and to remove certain experiences or people from your existence to then bring through exactly what you are calling in. But again, the fear that you have to remove said person, to remove said situation, you are not then allowing the universe to provide you with whatever it is that you are praying for. And this is a very hard lesson to teach, and it is an equally hard lesson to learn because it seems so simple. But we can assure you it is not an easy lesson to learn. And more times than not, you can learn it in one area of your life, but be completely blinded in another area. And so it is very situational based, and we all have different perceptions on love and career and relationships, on finances, and more oftentimes than not, the beliefs that we hold are not even our beliefs. They were passed down to us, or they were generational beliefs, societal beliefs. And so an exercise that we have for all of you is to write down exactly what it is that you want to call into your life. Truly look at your list and get personal with yourself and ask, what is my belief about my career? Why am I not getting the promotion that I feel I so desperately deserve? Why is the love of my life not coming to me? Why am I still in this volatile relationship with my family? But whatever belief that you hold is where the real work is going to begin. You are going to then start to peel layers back of your beliefs. And through the shedding of those layers, you will ultimately determine whether that belief still serves you. And if you come to a place where that belief no longer serves you, and you are still calling in whatever it is that you want, you will find that it happens like that. Because the fear and the beliefs that you are holding will ultimately always be a roadblock. We are going to bring through another healing. We did this on the last call, and it was very beneficial for the majority of those on the call. And with the new energies who have joined us this evening, there is a collective, not just those of us here this evening, but a collective where everything seems very tough and turbulent. And so through this healing, it is going to help calm the nervous system, re-regulate and co-regulate to a more peaceful state. So if you would please close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. If you can, have your feet planted on the ground. Otherwise, just envision or feel into the sensation of being grounded. And we are going to start the energy, and it is going to begin at the crown of your head. And it is going to pass over your mind and start the process of taking you to a sympathetic state to a parasympathetic state, to fully engage your neural networks to trigger a calm sense of being. And as this energy continues to pass over your throat and your shoulders, it is going to trigger your mind to release the anxiety that does not serve. It is going to pass over your heart. And that heart space is going to release any grief that you are currently holding. And as it passes over your abdomen, it is going to release any feelings that you are carrying of unworthiness. And as it goes down the lower half of your body, you are going to be walking in to a new existence of who you are. There is going to be a renewed sense of self. And you will start to see certain situations in your life might trigger you in a different way. And please know that they are coming up to be revisited or visited for the first time because it no longer serves you. But this healing will ultimately ground you into the knowing of your soul, what is meant for you and what is not. And we are going to ask you to take in a deep breath, and that breath is going to infuse you with a sense of peace and trust and knowing that ultimately you are divinely guided through every experience, every relationship, every situation. And as you work through whatever it is that comes through your existence, we will be there guiding you and helping you to realign with purpose and a newfound sense of the self. You may find that relationships that you previously could not handle, you now see them in a different light. You see them from the eyes of God. Because as we infuse you with this energy, you will have a different perspective on the soul of the individuals that you are seeing. Whether it is your family or your husband, your children, or the people that you work with, you are going to be seeing them in the eyes of divine love. And ultimately, that will help you see yourself in the same light. It will give you the grace to have that love for you, that love for yourself, to then pursue whatever it is that you are resisting out of fear. As we close this portion of the healing and the message, we just ask you to take one last deep breath to solidify the energies and the frequencies of this healing. Stephen, we are ready for questions now.
All right, good evening, Archangel Michael. Thank you so much for being here with us.
You are very welcome.
That healing was delicious. Oh my gosh, I could take a nap.
We
Thank you,
are
thank you, thank
so
you.
glad that you enjoyed that.
Is this something we can come back to and watch the replay to receive more and more from it?
Absolutely. Just like the entire call, you can always come back and receive the angelic frequency in either the healing portion or the entire call.
Amazing. So I have a couple questions, and I'm sure we'll get some from the group here as well. But one thing that you touched on in your initial message to us was a moment of honoring the people here that might have doubt, and also the people here that, and this is going to be a loose paraphrase, but the people that might have some potential conflicting energies with potential like religious upbringing and beliefs that they might have. I'm curious how, if you could speak more into this, if somebody was watching on the call with us right now or watching the replay who, the idea of somebody channeling or having direct connection with guides and angels might be outside or against their religion, how would you start, I don't want to say easing them into this, but like, how does the angelic realm and you fit into all the different world's religions?
That is a great question. And the most basic answer we can give is all religions ultimately are preaching the same message: love and service. But are they truly acting on the foundation of love and service? Is the differentiation between religions. How I can further explain that is with some particular religions, they see this type of communication as taboo or witchcraft. But I can guarantee you that this energy and myself alone is coming through with the highest intention of love, and it is the closest energy to source that some might ever come in contact with. And I am not saying that from a place of an ego. I do not have ego. That is a construct of the human experience. But that statement alone may trigger the egoic response from somebody who has that belief. But a lot of the times, the Bible or scripture will say certain things about messages or speakings, communications from God that is then turned and worded in a different way where it does not seem as if it is coming through a channel like this. But I can assure you that any messages that are in any scripture where God or Allah or Buddha or whoever it is that is coming through is communicated to another individual on earth, it is through a source of channeling. That is and has always been a form of communication to help guide humanity to where they need to go, to continue to evolving, continue to learn lessons and experience this existence with divine guidance and love. And so we understand that this contradicts a lot of beliefs that people hold. But again, there is text in every single religious background and belief that talk about directly communicating with source. And insert whatever your religion calls source.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Another thing that you had touched on in your message was some people who are very far removed from their soul's purpose and also very influenced by societal conditioning. What's step one? What is step one towards coming home to truth? What is step one towards getting closer to their soul's purpose?
We laugh because step one is here. You are already opening your mind, stepping out of your comfort zone. Something led you here. Was it a sign? Was it a friend? Did you have that nudge that you should join this call in this time? Know that it is your soul speaking through whatever venue got you to this point. That is step one, is being open and curious. And to continue to be open, continue to be curious, ask questions. Don't immediately come back with judgment. See, things are so chaotic right now in the human existence. And that is because balance is about to go in the other direction. It is so out of balance. We have talked about this on our previous calls, that these scales are starting to tip in the other direction because it cannot continue out of balance. And so the fact that those who are maybe so far aligned from their soul's purpose or skeptical of this type of work, you are here, you found this video, you found this space, and we honor and respect you for even listening to this message. Do you want a further explanation, or do you feel that answers your question?
That answers the question for the most part. The next question that comes up is like, okay, so what's step two? Would it be just to then continue on following these nudges? Or if somebody was like, okay, I really want to lean in here, I took step one and I'm gung-ho, then what's next?
Absolutely. You continue to follow the nudges. Synchronicities are not coincidences. When you see something that you feel or know is a sign, that is absolutely your angels, your guides, God, the universe, insert whatever you feel comfortable saying. That is your team telling you you are on the right path. This is meant for you. You are in the right place at the right time. But so many individuals blatantly ignore those signs, those synchronicities, and brush them off as a coincidence and don't think twice about it. And then they wonder why they are so disassociated with the reality of where their soul is and where they are, why they don't feel purpose in their life, while they feel like life is against them or things are constantly happening to them. We can only work so hard in the constructs of the human existence to try and help. And we always continue to help. And sometimes your soul steps in and has to make a major shift. That is why there are things like near-death experiences, because one soul is so far away from their actual purpose that they then had to step in and literally hit them on the head to then align them with what it is they were meant to do. And how many times do you see people who have these near-death experiences or actually have been recorded as dead and came back, who then do something with their life? They completely change the existence of the people around them, of their path, of their purpose, because they are now aligned with what they are doing.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Now, a question from the group here. Can you give guidance to discovering what's truly in one's own heart? How do we discern what's in the heart and truly aligns with their soul objective versus the many thoughts of the mind?
That is a great question. And while meditation is not for everyone, that is the first place to start. And if meditation is not for you, then sit in prayer and talk to God, but truly listen. If you need to speak everything out to allow yourself to clear your mind, then do that. But most of you who pray or meditate, mind you, the energy and the experience, the existence is one and one and the same. But when you do that, you and you spit it all out, and then you're done. You spoke to God. But it is a conversation. And that conversation has been a one-sided conversation. Now, those who meditate, maybe you do need to relinquish whatever it is that is in your mind. Write down your thoughts and the intention for what you're trying to do. But then sit down and actually allow yourself to clear your mind. In both instances, thoughts will still come up, desires and laundry lists of things you need to get done. But center yourself and allow your heart to speak. If neither of those align or resonate with you, and journaling does, then allow yourself to write down what it is that is in your mind. And at some point, something will click. And then you can write down what is coming from the heart. But most people write down the conscious thoughts of whatever it is that they are doing, put a period on it, close the journal, and they're done. But those are all surface level things that happen throughout their day. And so it may be, I experienced somebody cut me off and it made me upset, but I decided to pray for them or I sent them love, and that's what you're writing in your journal. But you never allow the conscious mind to completely empty so that the subconscious mind or the heart can be spoken through in absolute truth. And if that doesn't work for you, if movement is what you need when you hear these subtle whispers of the soul or from your guides and your angels, then take more walks. Be more intentional about the movement or the action that you choose to do this. But many, and this is not a judgment, this is just the experience and the existence that you are currently living in, do not have the patience because everything is so fast-paced. You go to a drive-thru, you get a burger, and you're done. You have a pain, you take a medication, and it's masked. But the speaking of the heart, that will not emerge if you do not build a safe foundation for the truths to come up. And most of you are not doing that. You are not allowing what needs to come through to be spoken through the space to do that. So there has not been a trust built. We will give you an example. If you have a conversation with somebody and all they do is dump on you and never ask what you are doing, how you are feeling, are you going to want to have a conversation with that person? No, absolutely not, because there is no conversation.
Thank you so much. So it sounds like, to put all of that in other words, we need to create some sort of practice where we allow a new form of space for those more subtle heart messages to emerge.
Absolutely. And those were just a few examples, and we will give some more. But there are many times when people are in the shower and things just come to them. Brilliant ideas, thoughts, absolute truths. But what do they do with them? Nothing. They continue to shampoo their hair and rinse it out and go about their day. Or working out is a great way for people to clear their mind. That is why so many are addicted to working out, because they do not have to think, they do not have to feel, they just act. But more times than not, they are able to clear their mind through that. And when we say addicted, it is not a bad thing. It is a healthy thing for the body. But sometimes the action of working out is an unhealthy thing if you are doing it to hide or run from feelings and experiences that you do not want to experience, you do not want to deal with, you do not want to release. But in those moments of solitude, one has thoughts, ideas that come to them and they do nothing with it. And so again, these are just common examples that many can relate to, but it is times like that where you really need to sit and allow these things to come up. But then the second part of that is act on them. Write them down. Really feel into that. Is that the absolute truth? And we can assure you it is, because it is your soul speaking, because you finally have gotten quiet enough to listen. But that's the other half of it. You have to listen. And more times than not, people wonder, well, is this my thoughts or is this something that is coming through? And it is a combination of both. If you are thinking it, but it is so crystal clear, it is absolutely yourself, your heart, your soul speaking through you.
Thank you. Now, another question from the group here. What is the highest truth that wants to be revealed to this specific group at this time?
Oh, that is a great question. And this is not just for those of you who are on the call. This is also for anybody who this comes in contact with, and your ego may deny it, but you are living in fear. And there are fears that you are currently holding Laura is struggling with the message because this obviously pertains to her as well. One moment, please. You are holding on to irrational fears. And that fear is keeping you exactly in the place that you do not want to be. The fear that you are holding on to, while it may seem like a large hurdle, a mountain, you are making a mountain out of a molehill. And we don't want to sound harsh when we say that, because they are legitimate emotional fears. But these said fears have not even occurred. It is a past fear or a future fear that is keeping you stuck. It is not allowing you to move forward. Laura is still struggling with this message, but we feel that we have communicated it the best that she will allow us.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Another message, a question from the chat here regarding artificial intelligence. What is your take on artificial intelligence and the pursuit that some have of creating a non-human intelligence that is greater than any individual? How do we as a species prepare for this, and how does that interact with a light worker's path and experience?
Well, again, another great question. And what we can say about artificial intelligence is that everything is created in the exact moment that humanity needs it. And whether you fear AI or whether you indulge in AI, either way, it is a current existence of your reality. And anything that comes into existence can be used by myself, the other archangels, or any other guides who are there to help you on your path. It can also be used to harm, just like anything. You can have a softball and you can create a beautiful game and bring people together, or you can throw it at one's head at a rate that could give them a concussion. But again, it is the fear of the concussion when it hasn't even happened that could not allow a beautiful sport like baseball to bring people together, to allow a creation to unfold. And same thing goes with AI. You can have a fear of it and never utilize it, but that fear, again, is a irrational fear. And you could use it to create something beautiful. And obviously, not everybody, this is a blanket statement, but not everybody is utilizing AI for the good or the benefit of humanity. But again, we talk about the weighing of the scales. And so if the light workers, the ones who align, are using it and pouring love and energy into it, at some point the scales have to tip in one way or the other. And sometimes things come into our existence as a catalyst for change. But people fear change because change can show up as a negative. But we can assure you again that change, whether it appears as a positive or a negative, is always something to help teach, to learn from, and to grow from. And we do want to question if you are afraid of change, whether it be AI or any other change in your life, what are you really afraid of? And again, that goes back to the lists that we had encouraged you to sit down with yourself and be honest. Because change ultimately is always a good thing. Even if a negative, and a quote unquote negative, because we don't see any situation as a negative, but even if something negative occurs from AI, you will then grow as a race, as a culture, excuse us. You will grow from that experience and ultimately find something better, learn from that, or come together as a community.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you. And just to clarify, you're saying that like the angels and spirit and source can work through this artificial intelligence?
Absolutely. We work through everything. There is not one thing that we cannot touch to help you on your path. It is just more energetically exhausting for us to do so. And that is why certain things like AI come into existence when we need it to, because there are so many people who are so enthralled in technology that they do not create relationships with others for us to then help guide them in certain situations. So now we are having to use the likes of AI to communicate and help people on their path.
Thank you. Another question here from the group. What percentage of fear is being broadcasted and originating from an outside force? An outside force being potential like negative or like harmful entities.
Well, what is your definition of harmful entities? We understand this may not be your question, but are you speaking of things such as murderers? Or are you speaking of things such as boogeymen that hide in the closet? That is a broad spectrum, what you are asking, but the percentage we cannot truly give because it is a individual percentage. But we can tell you some people are operating at a level of fear that is not healthy for their body. The amount of irrational fears and legitimate fears that they have are actually making themselves physically sick. And there are certain things that are manifesting in the physical body, in the physical form, because they are not able to release those fears. And we want to be very clear that a lot of fears stem from things that have happened in our existence, whether we were children or adolescents or adults. But we are living only in this present moment. And this present moment is all we have. And as we sit here amongst the collective of these other beautiful souls, what fear do you truly have in this moment? Hopefully, nobody has any fear. Because if anybody is in a situation where someone is holding you at gunpoint to be on this call, then you probably should not be on this call. Do you see what we are trying to reference when we use that analogy?
Yes.
I know that doesn't quite answer your question, but was there any reciprocation of the particular fear that this individual is asking about?
So any fear, like from it says any entities, excuse me, word for word, it says not from higher self or 100% love and light.
Well, again, any fear, any energies or entities are all created based on the fear that you hold. And so this is going to be a very controversial topic, but many believe in an entity that is the devil. But we can assure you that there is no physical being of one called the devil. There is only fear that perpetuates that particular energy. And whenever you put thought into, it will only drive that particular situation. And so, yes, there is absolutely good and bad in every one of us, but what are you putting your thoughts into? What are you feeding the energy? And if you are living in a perpetual state of fear, you are feeding that quote unquote negative energy. But again, we do need to remind you that there is no such thing as negative or positive. Every experience, whether it is you are living your life in a perpetual state of fear, is a chance for you to learn, is a chance for you to grow. But when that happens, might not be in this particular lifetime. Maybe your soul's lesson is to live an entire life of fear, and you are just finding ways to cope. But we can assure you, anybody who found this call, whether it's now or on the replay, is not one of those souls, because your soul is guiding you to have more, to help release. And if you are one of the souls who are living in that perpetual state of fear, we do recommend you go back and listen to that particular healing and continue to listen to that, as it will unlock throughout your entire body those limiting beliefs from a physical and an energetic level to help move you through, again, experiencing situations to learn and grow from the fear that it presents. We went off on a bit of a tangent, but again, does that answer the question?
Yes, that is gorgeous insight. Thank you very much. So we've got just a couple more minutes here, but another question from the group is, in a world where power is abused and injustice is normalized, how do we stand firmly against evil without allowing anger to strip us of our humanity and light? If we are really struggling here, is this maybe not our path and best to unplug? They say ignorance is bliss for a reason.
That is a great question. And how do we word this? You cannot unplug. When the door is open, the knowledge is already there. And so if you are in a conscious state of awareness with any particular topic, you cannot unlearn something. If you feel uncomfortable, or if you feel that is not your path, then stop delving into that particular matter that you do not feel you can change, that you do not feel aligns with your soul's purpose. Many people watch the news and they wonder why they are in a state of anxiety when there is constant fear mongering through particular stations of news, of broadcasting. And we are not going to argue or discuss which particular ones are good or bad. That is for you, and you have free will to listen to them. But it is an example of what comes through, what you are bringing into your existence, what you are consuming will ultimately shape your reality. And so if you are consuming a constant stream of negative, you will constantly view your life, human existence, as evil. But if you are truly aligned with God or the universe or love and light, then you need to walk the walk and talk the talk. You need to be consuming things that align with that value that you have. And you will start to notice that as your thoughts and what you are consuming starts to shift, you are then putting a transmission to the universe to only show you those things. And that is not putting blinders on, that is not ignoring what else is around you, but it is a ripple effect of humanity. If so many, again, are consumed with the evil energies, the negative or the dark energies, it will keep growing and it will keep expanding. But if we can shift humanity, and if we can shift the consciousness, the consciousness, to then indulge in this light, in this love, in this God energy, then it will only ripple effect to tip the scales in the other direction. And that is what we are moving towards. But you cannot unplug. That is not possible. Have you ever tried squeezing out a tube of toothpaste and then trying to put it back in? It's impossible. You cannot physically do it. There will be remnants on the counter, even if you get some of the toothpaste back in the tube.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. So, in efforts to stay on track in terms of time, we're going to move now into the energetic forecast. Can you give us like a collective frequency, like a weather forecast of what's coming our way between now and the next call?
We so appreciate this question because it is one of importance. The From this time till the next call, the energies will still be quite turbulent. And that is not because it is just the holiday season, although that does add a level of pressure and hustle and bustle to everything that is going on. But the energies of this year are really starting to push down, really diving deep to release. This is the year of the snake. And that is in a Chinese zodiac where it is releasing what no longer serves. And so if you have not been following what does need to release from your life, there will be an additional pressure. And it is not a negative pressure. It is to help align you what you are asking for, what you are calling in to get that out of your life. You cannot make a diamond without pressure. And each one of you, every single individual on this call, is a diamond. But the pressure that you are going to experience to create that diamond, can you withhold that pressure? And so there are going to be more triggering situations that come into your existence. There are going to be things that are questioning your beliefs. That is why we started the call out with the list of beliefs that you feel you currently have and what you are trying to bring into your life. Because those beliefs will be questioned. But they are coming up for a reason because they no longer serve you. And if you have the conscious awareness to do that exercise and to be more present in situations, in relationships, in conversations, you will get a better idea of how you are consuming certain things. Is it aligning with what, again, you are praying for, manifesting, or calling into your life? Because the energies of the new year, and it does not start on January 1st, it starts about mid-February, end of February. The energies of the next year are going to be hyper focused. It is going to be a straight shot to what you are calling in. But if you have not released, you cannot bring in what it is that you want. And some of you aren't even clear what you want because, again, you are so far away from your soul's purpose. So we are going to, again, revisit the being quiet and sitting with yourself. That is imperative because as these energies pick up and as life, God, the universe throws you different situations and lessons and things to learn, it is all for a purpose. So we are asking you again to have the conscious awareness in certain situations to really step back and see the bigger picture, see what is presenting itself. If you've been cut off in traffic every single day of the week, don't blame the other cars, blame yourself. And we don't mean blame in a sense of shame or guilt, but really put the mirror on you. What are you doing? Again, how are you spending your morning? What are you consuming? How are you talking to your children that have then set you in alignment and an energy to not get cut off by somebody? Because again, what you focus on is only what is going to expand in your reality. And so, to be more specific, the energies will be turbulent. There will be a lot more solar flares that will then in turn disrupt the physical body, but that is from an energetic standpoint to help clear out what no longer serves. Laura is currently experiencing what she would call a migraine. But what she is actually experiencing is a limiting belief and a fear that she is holding about being seen, about her gifts being seen. She has a fear that when she presents herself, she will be left behind. She will not have friends, and nobody will want to talk to her. And that is because past lives she was actually killed for her gifts and abilities. So that fear is not only in this lifetime, it is from past lifetimes. And she is quite mortified that we are bringing this up, but it is because it needs to be said so that you can see things and patterns in your life that are presenting itself because it no longer serves. This work that she is doing is going to help so many people. And how can it help people if she does not get past that fear and that resistance of being seen? Because she cannot do this work and not be seen. We went off on a tangent again, but we felt that end part was quite important to help others see certain scenarios in their life that they may be bypassing.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Archangel Michael. We are now going to move into the community connection portion of the call. So a big, big thank you from all of us here.
You are very welcome. And as always, we leave you with light and love.